Hi, Matheus. How you doing, man? You okay?
All good, everything's good.
Good, good. Obviously, you're just coming off one of the best performances of your career so far, winning worlds. But I wanted to sort of take a look back at the earlier stages of your career first before we go on to that. Um, Obviously, you started jiu-jitsu really young, back in Brazil. Can I ask what was it that sort of brought you into the sport when you were still a kid?
Yeah, I started jiu-jitsu when I was 8 years old, and the reason I started jiu-jitsu was my grandma. She always likes like sport combat. When she likes that like a karate, karate. Kind of like she loves like movies like that, and so after years, she decided to put me on the sport. And also because on the school I was kind of like I was having like some problems in the school, like a little kid, like fighting, no behavior at the school. And yeah, that's the reason, like I started jiu-jitsu. But I remember when it became I didn't like it. And I didn't like it. Training, for me it was kind of like weird, like was like too much contact. I didn't like it, because my dream was, when I was young, was to be a professional soccer player. Because every Brazilian, right? So I'm Brazilian, so every Brazilian kid, has a dream to be like a soccer player, right? And this was my dream before. And yeah, man, I started training, but it was kind of like a soccer and jiu-jitsu, soccer, jiu-jitsu, but was more soccer because, I wasn't, I want to be a soccer player. Because jiu-jitsu was just like, I was kind of like a forcing by my grandma.
So, what was the kind of like turning point where you actually started to enjoy the sport rather than focusing on football?
Yeah, there was, I think, when they start traveling, the first time when I went inside of the airplane was like a dream for a kid, right? My family, like, is very humble, like we don't today, like I'm blessed, because I can help my family, but by the time, like, like we didn't have a lot of, like support, some money too, so for me it was you know, was really tough. And when I went to my first traveling, and it was to Rio de Janeiro. Man, I was so happy, I was so happy because was a dream for me. Was, man, I'm inside of that plane. I was so happy, so hyped. And after like I started traveling, I was like, man, this world is cool. Like I can't travel around Brazil by the time. So I was like, man, this is so cool. I can start, go to Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo, just to fight, enjoy. So I was like, man, I like this. And I still like it. I still like fell in love with this sport. But after, like maybe like when I turned like 13, I was kind of like, man, I need you know, to go somewhere, here. Because in Manaus, I was stuck in Manaus. I was stuck in Manaus. And I was like, man, I have to go somewhere because my goal is to become a world champion. So I was kind of like stuck in Manaus. So with 14, I I received an opportunity for a guy in Rio de Janeiro. So I had to talk to my grandma because by the time I used to live with my grandma, she raised me. So I asked my grandma, was, okay, please, I want to go. This is, my dream. In the beginning, she's like, no, no, you have to finish the high school, you know. And I was like, no, I can finish over there, please. I was kind of like a couple months, like, bug my grandma about this. And she finally, like, she like, okay, you can go, but you have to finish your school over there. So with 14 years old, I moved to Rio de Janeiro by myself.
Did you find that tough then, sort of being separated from your family when you were that little, you know?
Man, like now, like people see me like, oh, what champion, blah blah blah, but they don't know like what's what struggle that I passed, in the beginning. So this man was like, man was tough for me, like going to Rio de Janeiro, by myself, like a little kid, like at 14 years old, I was just like, you know, chasing my dreams. And when I get them, it was like was crazy, but was the best experience of my life. If you guys ask me like, okay, do you do it again? Of course, I will. I will 100%.
You kind of did it again anyway. You moved to the US, didn't you, when you were only a couple of years older, I think, wasn't it?
Yes. Yes. So let me tell a little bit about this story of you, okay? We're going to step by step until we get here in the United States. So when they came in Rio de Janeiro, I had opportunity with this uh, professor. The name of his academy is Matheus Rodrigues. His name is Matheus Rodrigues. So he was one of the guys who gave me the opportunity, and I'm so grateful for him. I'm always grateful for the person who helped me on the past. So this guy, he helps all me and the other athletes. In Rio de Janeiro, I used to live with Lucas Hulk, you know, Barbosa. I used to live with Herbert Santos, the Herbert, everybody know Herbert. I used to live with those guys, but they were adult, and I was a little kid. And remember, they was like support me a lot because I was like the youngest kid, in the academy, and I remember uh, we used to sleep in the room with 20 guys. Man, crazy. It was like a room, it was a room, like a small room, and was like a three beds together, you know, together. It was like maybe like uh what, six, was kind of like around like a 10 beds inside of this room. And yeah, one bathroom. Man, crazy, crazy. And but was one of the best experience of my life, because that, I was a kid, but I had to start to learn adults things right away, because I was like a surround of adults, so I was, man, I gotta learn, I had to learn how to cook. I had to learn how to clean stuff. I had to learn like, oh, what's right, what's wrong, because over there we used to live on the favela. The favela is dangerous, over there you in like daily you see like some like crazy stuff on the favela. So you gotta be prepared, for that. And also you learn, like, oh, you cannot do this, you can do this. So it was like was amazing, to to get this experience. I remember, you know, by the time I didn't have any money over there. The guys over there was just help us with like a food, like a sign ups and training, and a place to sleep. That's it. Was no money at all, you know. So if you needed money, by the time you had to work for something, And I remember like I got an opportunity to work as a bartender, like a help. Where I was 15, I think 15, and somebody got me this opportunity. You know, I remember I used to work for $50 real or 11 p.m. until 5 in the morning. Yeah, it was like for $50, but I was so happy. By the time I was like, man, that's amazing. You know, I got $50, you know, and but like this was like what 7 years ago, like it maybe like 8, 10 years ago, something like that. And I was so happy because I get some money, you know, and those money that I got was like to buy like maybe like some pizza, some chocolate, you know. And I was happy, I was enjoying, you know. It was crazy, man. It was like good times. And after that, you know, I stayed there like a couple of years in Rio de Janeiro. And after that, those couple of years, I realized I was, man, now I gotta, you know, I gotta move to the next step. You know, I wanna go to the United States to, you know, to fight the big tournaments, you know, like the kids, you know, like, or because I was a little kid, right, when I was in Rio. So I was like dreaming about like being kids or like a Panams, you know, world championship. And I was like, man, I gotta do something. But by the time I didn't have any visa, and that 2K visa in Brazil is like a very, very tough. It was expensive too. So I had some friends in Manaus and they helped me out with my visa. You know, they pay me for everything. You know, my friend Diogo Dutra, you know, his own school in Manaus, White House. And he helped me a lot with you know, the visa, all the stuff, like the tickets, you know, and I was like, man, I was like blessing because my first time, you know, apply for the visa, I got the visa right away. So I can't, my first time in the United States was 2015. You know, I came to compete, I was a blue belt. You know, I was 17, but I was turning to 18. So I was fighting on the adults. And uh I remember I went to California to fight. I was so happy, you know, my first time on the United States. You know, it was another dream for me. And I fight and I lost on the second round. Man, I was so sad after that. I was going, man, no way. I spent a lot of money. I still had to pay, you know, my ticket, you know, some stuff, you know, some bills. You know, I came here and I lost on the second round. So I was like, yeah, you know, like, okay, you know, we're gonna come back to Manaus and let's see what's gonna happen. So I go back to Manaus, and my coach over there was Sami Diaz and Jogo. There was my coach in Manaus, and they was call, hey, it's okay, you know, head up, you know, this is just the beginning. You have to come back to United States to stay there like maybe like a season of like 3 months. So I was, oh, sounds good, great. You know, I'm down. And I went to, you know, now I was training when I was, and one of the guys was a friend of Casey, you know, he's from Dallas. So Casey was the guy who helped me on the beginning here in the United States. So they contact with Casey, like, hey, I have this little young kid, like he's a talent, and you know, he want to go to the States and compete, you know, could you help him? And Case was like, oh, look, he sent me his profile. You know, and after that, he was kind of like doing like an interview with me, you know, just to double check, you know, like, hey, what's your goal? You know, what you planning? And yeah, I was just talking with him. And after that, like, okay, he's like, okay, calm. And we going to, to compete some big tournaments here, I'll help you. So my second time when I came to United States, I went to California again to fight Pan Ams. And Pan Ams, I did very well. I lost on the finals of Pan Ams, blue belt. I lost by rep decision. And of course, I was kind of like sad because I won the gold, right? But and two, I was kind of like happy because I got second place. Was like a big deal for me. In the beginning, I was, oh man, second place in pins. This is good. And I was like, okay, now let's go to Dallas. So I went to Dallas, and I met Case over there. It was so nice, in the beginning of it there, Case was like giving me a lot of support, helped me. I stopped fighting like every single tournament in Dallas, like Naga, like those tournaments, Naga, some local tournaments, IBJJF tournaments, like a super fights. Man, every single, like almost like every weekend, I was like a fighting, like, man, back to back, way the absolute, crazy. And I got purple belt. I got a purple belt. And uh, I no, I went to Manaus as a blue belt, and I got purple belt over there. And when I come back, I stopped fighting. But by the time I didn't have any major tournament, like title, was just like a Panam's second place, right? So I went to compete words on the purple belt, and I was at in 2016. I think it was 2016. When I went to San Francisco. This is my first one, and man, I had like a 5 matches. Was my first time fighting with O'Brien Kennedy. We fight over there. Man, I was in the same finals, was just crazy, So for me, it was a dream because I'm a big fan of like a Cobria, Rafa Mendes, those guys. Was my inspiration by the time. And when I fought with his son, I was like, man, that's awesome. Like, can't believe I fought with over here. And yeah, and I won the title, the Nogi title. Man, I was so happy. My first one, the first title, major title, like awards, Nogi, you never forget. So I was so happy. And after that, I start win. Purple Belt was one of the best, like the seasons for me, because I think, man, I had my record was like, man, crazy. I think it was like maybe like 120 fights, 98 9 weight, 100 something weight. I lost only, I lost maybe like 4 times, something like that, only on the absolute. It was crazy. And I stopped fighting a lot, and I won Pan Ams on purple. I lost some words on the purple, and after that, I become uh, a brown belt. They promote me to the brown belt. And the brown belt, it started getting more tough, like every belt. And on brown belt, I was, man, I was scary because on brown belt, like people start to attack your feet, very like toe holds, more foot locks. And it was kind of like scary on the beginning. And I started doing really well on brown belt. My first pains of brown belt, I lost on the finals. I lost though. We got me and the guy who just won words on featherweight, Joe Mendes, Bislaga. We did a finals on the Pan Am's brown belt, and we got the kill. We got the kill, man. Because we didn't want to come up, and we both got the kill. So there I was so mad with myself, but it was really good because it was a lesson for me. Because by the time I was like, man, I didn't like to come up. It was just work, work, work. I was like, man, I have to fix this. This is not good. Otherwise, like my jiu-jitsu is gonna get like stuck. So I was training a lot after that, like top, 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 top. Man, world championship brown belt. Man, was crazy. I did like 5 matches. Man, it was like really tough tournament, and I won. You know, my matches, my I think semifinals and finals, I was playing top. And after that, I was so happy because I was happy for the title, but I was happy because I come up, to play to pass. Because I was scary, before to pass, and after that, I was man, like, this is no big deal. Like, I can do it, and I won, and I got promoted to black belt, 2018. And I was, man, so happy, got promoted on the podium. It's a different feeling. And after that, I was like, man, now I'm black belt. I was like, I can't believe man, I'm a black belt, So now, like, the black belt, we always say, like, oh, we separate the kids from the adults. When you go to like belt, it's like, man, it's damn, man, it's tough. Like, you got to be ready 100%. You got to be ready. And uh, was 2000, uh, 2018 or I think it was 18 on the end of the 18. Man, Spider they contact me, the Spider invitation in Korea. They used to do like this event in South Korea, and they invite me to fight over there. I was, man, I'm down. And man, it was like a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys fighting over there. And my first fight on the black belt was against Paulo Miel. I was like, man, no way. Paulo, man, one of the best guys in the world. I was fan of Paulo, right? Man, Paulo, I used to watch Paulo when I was like a blue belt, you know. And I was like, okay, let's go, man. I don't care. Let's fight with this guy and let's see what's gonna happen. So I went to South Korea, and man, I was so nervous because I had to fight him on my first fight debut, debut match. And we fight over there. Man, it was a really good fight. I lost by 2 points. It was like A6, they scored. And I felt really good because I was, man, you know, I can beat those guys. You know, Wh- when they fight here, I was, man, I'm gonna be able to beat those guys because I was so scary, you know, to fight, like a big name already. I was so scared, but it was good for me because I was, man, I had I had to feel like, the pressure, the experience, to fight those guys in that tournament, like big tournament. So after that, I realized I was, man, I'm gonna, you know, I can't be the champion. I just gotta, focus on myself and train really good. And after that, I start training, train. And the Pan Am's, uh, my first Pan Am's on black belt, 2019. Randall kid. Nobody didn't know who I am. by the time. And I was like a Pope Kennedy. We fight first round, man, because the other we fight me Kennedy. I forgot to tell this. Kennedy and me and myself, we fighting on Words Doggy on the black belt, and he put me to sleep. He put me to
That's
sleep.
the only time you were submitted, well, isn't it? Black
Yeah,
belt.
yeah. That was only time both they submit. I got sub. I didn't tap myself. I got sleep. I went to sleep. But yeah, was the first my first time, like somebody put me to sleep. And man, I was so I was so pissed, I was, you know what I mean? Like, man, I lost. So I went to Penams with me in his first round. I was like, man, I'm gonna kill this kid. Let's go. So I got his arm, cool. I break his arm in the first round. I was, man, that's awesome. Let's go for the second day. And I had like 3 more matches, 2 more matches, won 2 finals. So on the finals was me and Jamil Hill. Man, it was a crazy finals, me and him. And I won, man. When they won, I was so happy, you know, because when I become a champ, I start to thinking, about my past. I was like, man, like I won, like a major tournament of like belt Panams. I was so happy. And people like, man, who is this kid? Like he comes, he beat the world champion Jamil. And after that, people start knowing more who I was, right? Like, Matheus Gabriel, blah blah blah. People was talking about myself. And uh, Bananas pass, and I was training for World Championship. Man, there I was so nervous. I was, man, my first one on the black belt. Let's see. So I fought in the first round with Joel Mendes, Piznaga. We fighting. I beat him. I I I won by points against him. And after that, I had like 2 more matches to go to the finals. And it was me and Master André in the finals. And I was like, man, I was like, I want to fight Master André because we fight, we fought before, and Master André beat me. Oh, at was a super fight. It was kind of like the decision was like, you know, but he won, right? So I was like, man, I want to fight with this guy so bad. But I knew Master André was like, man, really, really tough, really, really tough guy, and his past guard was like, man, amazing. But I was like, confidence, right? I was nervous, confidence. I was like, let's go. And uh, I I I started fight with him. And I remember the beginning of the match was like crazy. It was like very, very hard, to sweep him. I swept him. And I think it was like 2 minutes left or something like that. Man, I saw the opportunity to go for the submission. And I was like, man, come on. You know, my goal is like submission, right? I like to sub. If it was another guy, probably I bet 100% he wouldn't go for the submission. He's like, because I was winning the match. I was winning by 2. So it was, man, that's the opportunity. So I did the black hole, the position that I developed. And I saw him, man. Was so that 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 feeling. The first one was like, man, unbelievable, amazing. I was like in shock. So I saw him with like a crazy submission that nobody didn't know, and like, man, what's this position? What's the name? And after that, I was, no, it didn't have a name because I didn't have a name. I used to do the position since I was purple belt, right? But I didn't have a name, by the time. And after like when they hit words, I was like, "Yeah, man, I gotta put a name." So with my coach, it was not me, it was my coach. Like, oh, put black hole because when you get on a black hole, it's hard to escape. So the position we name black hole. And after that, man, was like crazy. Like I become a champion. World champion was my dream come true. I remember like after the tournament, I called my grandma. I was, okay, look, I did it. I told you, and I did it. Look, I'm a champion. I called my coaches in Manaus too. The guys who helped me in the beginning. There was all emotion and cry. And I was like, yeah, like I did it. This is for us. Like, the first title, we never forget. And after that, my life changed. It changed. It changed. Like, people, some people say, oh, the world title, it's not going to change. It changed. It doesn't give you a lot of money, but if you know how to like, make it, if you know how to advertise yourself, you can make a lot of money, with the title. So after that, I start to like making money, and also my life is changing. Like people was like, like recognize me, in some place that I went, and for me it was amazing. For me like to become like a champion, and also people start to like, oh hey, I know this guy, let's take a picture, blah blah blah. For me like this is worth more than a title. You know what I mean? Like a kid's like a message me, like, oh, like, oh, I'm a fan, you're my missionary fan, you know, those stuff is a word more the title for me. So after that was like, changing. My life was like, better and better, over the years.
Yeah, well, you mentioned like the more opportunities that you get from becoming a world champion. And I know not long after you won worlds the first time, you were obviously invited to ADCC as well.
Oh
And
yeah,
you
yes.
haven't been back since that first time, though, have you? Is it something that
No,
hasn't?
yeah, I had an opportunity, to fight in the ADCC in 2018. I become a champion, right? And they invite me to ADCC. Man, ADCC is one of the toughest tournament. Right now they changed the rules, because before it was 3 days. You have 3 days to make the weight. So right now it's just one day and you're good. When they compete, it was 3 days, man. Then you can move up, you know. Man, it was crazy. I had to compete on the 66 kilos, like 145. Man, I almost died to make the weight, man. It was so crazy. You know, if they invite me again, maybe I'll fight on 77. No, 66 again. Man, it's too much weight. I was like, well, I was dying. But it was such an amazing experience, And this is like very, very fun tournament. I had a lot of fun fighting in the ADCC. And was one of my dreams too, like to compete on the ADCC. ADCC, I remember I used to watch, the highlights on the YouTube, I think it was ADCC China. Those guys fighting over there. I was like, man, it's so awesome. And after a couple of years, I was fighting on the ADCC. ADCC was really fun. I lost on the quarterfinals against Tanquinho. Tanquinho was a champion that year. And it was a really good fight. I guess it was by decision. But yeah, it was like, man, it was so fun. But yeah, since that, like, I I haven't fight ADCC. But yeah, I'm gonna try to focus no year this year too. For the rest of the season, maybe I can get an invitation, or maybe trials in Brazil. I had a fight
That's what I
trial.
was going to say. Yeah, you've obviously got the two ADCC trials in Brazil. I think they're coming up in March next year. Is that
Yes.
something that you would want to aim for then? Because I know
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you'd have to sacrifice a little
Maybe,
bit of the season, maybe, wouldn't you?
yeah, maybe, I'll look into forward to this one, the trials, to compete the ADCC again. Man, ADCC's, it's hard, and of course everyone wants to win ADCC, and I have to do the trials, or maybe, if they invite me, it'll be great.
And then obviously the last couple of years since you won your first world title and got that first trip to ADCC as well, I know it's been quite difficult for you. Obviously, you've had sort of like less competition because I think you had a knee injury, didn't you, not so long ago now. Could you explain like how that sort of happened and how you recovered from that?
Yeah, so uh, 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 I forget. After 2019, right, I had COVID camp, and 2021 we fight again on Worlds, and uh, uh, I fight again, and I made it again to the championship. Me and Flanuto, we close out, the division, the Worlds. So I give the title to him. But for me, I still like, for me, it's still counting. I'm in the champion. Me here with teammates. So by the time I was, I don't want to fight with my teammates. So, but that one was special too. Like after COVID, and we fighting. Over there, me and my friends, it was super amazing. To make another world finals. And 2023 was 2022. I lost against Mika. Yeah, I lost against him. Was it before two, something like that. And and 2023, I was doing camp. And on the middle of the camp, I think it was in the weekend of the camp. I got hurt on the week of the World Championship on 2023. Boom, I blew my knee. So I was like, man, what am I gonna do? So, man, I was like, man, I want to compete so bad this tournament. So what I did like a couple PT, like physiotherapy before the tournament, like maybe like 2 or 3 days before tournament. And the day of the tournament, I put a lot of tape on my knee, a lot of tape, because I decided to compete because the reason was too, because my sponsor, they came all the way from Korea. So I was like, man, I'm not gonna disappoint my sponsors. You know what I mean? They came here to see me, and I'm gonna tell them, hey, I'm not gonna compete. So I was gonna, let's go. You know what I mean? Like I'm going. I don't care. So man, my first fight with my knee, my knee was done. My first fight with Levi Jones. We fight, and I won. With the fight, I didn't fight so good, because my conditioner was not that good, right? But I fight. The second one, man, my knee was done because the guy put me on the 50-50 and my knee popped. Crazy. And I won the fight. And I went to the pro tour match. The third match was like to go to the next day, go to the next day. And I I couldn't make it, until the end of the fight. I was okay and stop. I was spoiling a lot. So I tell they have made look, I can't do it. It was hurt a lot. My knee was like, man, it was like people were like stab on my knee. It was crazy painful. And I went to the my house, because I used to live in California. I went to the house and I was like, man, I knew it was something serious. I knew because my knee was bad and was like a burn, was burned. So I was like, man, I gotta do MRI right away. I have to do MRI. So, like maybe like after like a couple weeks, I tried to train and I couldn't train pretty well. So I was like, man, that's not good. So I did the MRI and the doctor told me, hey, look, you tore, the ACL, MCL, meniscus, and you have to do surgery right away. I was like, man, no way, man, no way. So before surgery, I was like, I was sad because I was like, man, I gotta do surgery and I'm going to stay out so long because I knew the process will be long to recover. You know, it would be too long. And but on the other side, I was thinking too, I was, man, I gotta do this. Otherwise I'm not gonna be 100%. I have to do this. If I wanna fight 100%, I gotta be 100%. In my knee felt good. So that's how I decide, you know, I'm gonna do it. So I set up, you know, the the surgery, was in Brazil, São Paulo, with the doctor. What's the name of the doctor? It's I forgot the name of the doctor who did this surgery on me. I'm gonna remember. But yeah, I did it in Brazil, and that was in September of 2023. And the name of the doctor is Kyle, Kyle Dolera. And I went to Brazil September, and I was with my girlfriend. By the time she was my girlfriend, now she's my wife. And we went to São Paulo. Man, the day of the surgery, I was like nervous. I was nervous because the surgery, I was kind of like, man, please God help me. This surgery needs to go like well. I need to be 100%. And the other thing too, there was a put me in sleep, and I'm scared about this too. You know, so the doctor was like, "Yeah, we're gonna put you to sleep." We're like, okay, all right. So they did anesthesia on my back, the same anesthesia for the when the lady is pregnant. Right, they did the same thing, but I was scared. But the anesthesia was not for my knee surgery. I was scared for the anesthesia, because of my back. So I was like, man, I'm so nervous for this. But I slept. I slept, and then when I wake up, oh, my knee was the surgery was 6 hours, so it was bad. But I remember when I wake up, and was I couldn't feel my leg. I couldn't feel my leg. I was like, man, I don't feel my leg. What happened? The doctor was explaining, oh, this is because of the anesthesia. Maybe in 1 hour you're gonna start feeling it again. You relax. So after that, I started feeling, and I went to home. Man, uh, knee surgery, just people who did, they know how it is painful. There's man, I was like couple days like me crying because it was hurt a lot, a lot. I was taking so much medication, but it didn't help, the pain. Man, it was like a strong medication, but still was hurt. I couldn't sleep, because it was hurt a lot, crazy. Man, it was crazy, painful. And I start to do the PT in Brazil because they did like the surgery. And when they did the meniscus, they fixed the meniscus. They didn't take it. They fixed. So I couldn't put my leg on the ground, my feet on the ground for a month. So one month I was in the countries with like can't put my any weight on the leg. So it was so hard. I had to my wife, she needs to help me for everything. I was like a little baby. It was like a little baby. She was carrying me to the bathroom, help me shower, helping my food, all this stuff. I was like a little baby. I couldn't do nothing. Man, it was crazy, man. Crazy. Put a month. It was so hard was so hard because it was painful a lot. And also I had to do the PT. The PT, man, was very struggle. Hurt a lot. I couldn't bend my knee for like a couple months. Man, it was crazy, but I was like a trust in the process, right? I was trusting the process. In the beginning, people was like, oh, you're not gonna be the same. Your knees are not gonna be the same, blah, blah, blah. And some people was like a support me. Yeah, you're gonna come back. You're gonna come back. Let's go. But some people was like with negative energy. I think, oh, I know some people, they didn't come back 100%. They knee is still whole, blah, blah, blah. This and the other. I was like, hey, come on, man, shut up. I'm gonna come back. And I was trusting the process, right? And finally, like couple months, like maybe like 7 months, I start training, right? Little by little, little by little, little by little. And I was feeling good. I was, man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Amazing. It's amazing. And I think was 2024 last year. I was out like for, man, almost the whole year. On the end of the year, I decided to compete in Portugal. Well, I went to Portugal. It was a tournament over there, like a IBJJF tournament, Rome Open. And I decided to compete. Man, for me, it was like the the feeling was looks like the first tournament, as my black belt, because I was nervous a lot, right? I was so worried because of my knee, right? And was a lot of pressure too. So I was asking me like, man, let's see, if Benny's gonna working well. So I had 3 matches over there. It was 3 matches. And was no was I think it was 2 matches on the division. And my first one was like, I was so nervous, but I subbed. And I was, man, that's pretty good. I was at the feeling, like a great feeling, start to compete again and win, after like the struggle that I passed. And I went to the finals and I was more like, I was more on the vibe, more confidence. And I subbed the guy, boom, right away. And I was, but man, that's amazing. Let's go to open class. Why not? Now it's gonna be the real test with the big guys. So I went to compete on the open class. And I was like, well, I was already like with the confidence. I was, man, that's good. And the open class, I fight really well, man. I fought really, really good. It was like a really good performance. I sub like, I had 3 matches, sub all three, was 5 match totals. I sub every single fight. And that for me was like, was amazing. I was like, man, thank you, God, to let me come back, to compete again, feeling good. So after that, I started to create more confidence, training, and yeah. And was Pan Am scam this year, right? Of course, I fight a couple tournaments before, like IBJJF tournaments. I start to win like a couple like weights and absolute, on those tournaments. And I went to compete on Manaus this year. And on Pens, I did pretty well. I lost in the semifinals by rep decision. And I was pissed with myself because I was, man, I came here to win, but I lost. But okay, like this is part of the process. Let's go. Let's keep training and let's train for a world championship, because words will be the real test. After this surgery, all the struggle. And I went to California to do the camp over there with my professor Lucas Leite at the checkmate. And man, the camp was amazing. It was really cool camp over there. And world championship, I was so scared. I was so scary now. I was so nervous. Not scared. I'm not scared anymore. Like it's more nervous, because surgery, all the stuff. So the bracket came out, and I was, man, 5 matches, crazy. Nobody on the bracket didn't get by. I was like, man, okay. And my first round was with a guy from Atos, really good kid, like talent, like really good guy. Tough match. I was like, man, like tough fight in the first one. Let's go. It's even better like when we fight like that with tough guys. Because it's your hand going down. And I fight with this guy. It was a really good match. I'll be able to sub on the end. And I had a injured guy on the second round. And I won by points. Was like a hole, something like that. Was a really good match too. And that the last match of the day to pass to the semifinals was Pedro Maia. Pedro Maia was he's the top notch of the division. Like he always there. Always making the podium. And yeah, it was me and Pedro. I knew it would be like a good fight, tough fight. And it was really good fight, you know. And I won by rep decision. It was a crazy fight. And I won and I passed to the semifinals. So when I passed to the first day, I was happy already because I was, man, this is amazing, like, well, I'm come back, I'm here. I I fight like 3 times, really tough matches with tough guys. And I was happy with myself already. So I was good, like semifinals is gonna be really good, so I can make to the finals. And my semifinals were the same guy that I lost in Panamas. And I was, let's go, man. This time it'll be different. It'll be different. So semifinals on Sunday. Man, I fight really well with the guy on semifinals. It was amazing, and I get the win, by points. So man, when I passed the semifinals, man, I was so happy. I was so happy because can you hear me? You
Yeah,
can hear
yeah.
me? Oh, hold on one second. Yeah, so I was so happy because I passed to the finals and I was like, man, another final. The final, man, that's amazing. Let's go. Another one. And it was against Andy. Andy, I knew this one was the final test of the battle, of the war. And I was like, man, it's gonna be really tough, you know. And me and Andy, we fought before, you know, we fight at in Las Vegas, we fight. And Andy beat me on the final. He was ten grand cash prize, and he won over there, you know, by decision. And I was like, okay, let's go. You know, I was nervous, of course. Every world finals, you know, it's a different feeling. And I was nervous. I was like, man, another one. That's amazing. And I was with my friends over there, you know, in the Hamburg area. Everybody was so, you know, like the vibe was like so heavy over there. Everybody was like, man, we looked to the side, everyone was so nervous. And I was like, man. And even my friend Mayra, you know, Mayra was like, man, this vibe here is too heavy, dude. I don't want to do this anymore. And I was like, yeah, this is the part of the process. Yeah. But it's nice, you know, it's good. And you know, I always talk to my coach, Lucas, you know, he's like, okay, let's go. This was the last fight, man, let's go. You can do this. It's gonna be tough, but you can do it. You know, a lot of people you know, they don't believe in you. They don't believe in you. I'm with you. You know, let's go. Man. And before I enter the mat, I know I was just thinking about like, you know, like the struggle that I passed. And if God let me, you know, the another title, it will be, you know, amazing, of course. But if not, you know, I'll still, you know, be glad and happy because, you know, I did a really good tournament. And yeah, man, when I went to the fight, it was crazy match, you know, with Andy, crazy. You know, I was able to, to sweep him, you know, like, and he swept me back, and I swept him on the end. Man, it was crazy, you know. It was really, really crazy feeling. This one was special, you know, was the best one for me, you know, because not because of the title, because of the thing that I passed. And also, you know, it's not for everyone, you know, to get the injury, like serious injury, you know, and come back like that. You know, for
And
me, it
how did
was
it feel after the major title? You know, after winning worlds the second time or the third final, like you said. How did it feel your knee afterwards? Like, were there no issues at all? Is it all good?
no, no issue. And with on the final with Andrew, I feel a little bit because he kind of ripped, you know, it was the same knee, and people was like, oh, faking, blah blah blah. And I was like, dude, you don't have any surgery. Or when you have any surgery, you can talk to me about it. You know what I mean? So I was hurried to, you know, to blow my knee again. You know, especially you know, if you twist the knee like that. But my knee is like, it's all good. It's fine. You know, I feel really good. You know, nothing happened. You know, but yeah, but it was like a crazy feeling. Really happy still. You know, with my performance and this title, but you know, it's not over right now. I gotta, you know, finish the year stronger. You know, I believe I'm gonna fight like a super fight. And also like couple of tournaments, you know, that I wanna do.
Well, yeah, you mentioned focusing on Nogi now for the next half of the year. Can I ask, you know, with the knee injury as well, is that something that you've sort of like tested now, you know, heel hooks and reaping and that sort of thing? Like, have you managed to sort of like fight through that in the gym okay?
Yeah, yeah, like for now, like I'm fine to train like gi and ogi. Like I have the confidence already. You know, like I let people attack my leg, my knee, you know, just to how I feel. Of course, I'm not gonna let the person like, oh, you know, crazy, you know, rape my knee off. Of course, I can if I feel it, right? But I'm trying to always to escape and to and to lost a little bit about this how can I say about like scary, because I was scary, of people attack my knee, so I've been training practice, at the gym like a gi and oki, when people rip the leg, rip my leg or attack like a ear hooks inside outside, you know, uh I always be able to escape, most of the time, but sound like if I couldn't escape, I would tap. I'm not like this stupid that, you know, let the people blow my knee out. I mean, but
No, it's
yeah,
good to
but
hear that you've like managed to come back onto that now as well. And like you said, you're sort of like planning on some super fights. Is there anything you've actually got lined up at the moment, or is that just
now, yeah, probably I'm gonna fight at BJJ Stars in Brazil. Probably it's gonna be September. September they gonna try to to set up a fight with me September, and uh, uh, I want to fight Abu Dhabi Pro too. The words in Abu Dhabi, I never fought, so I want to fight this too, and maybe like a couple of Grand Slams that because I never fought Grand Slams, so I want to fight Grand Slams too, and maybe some no gi fight, words no gi. Of course, I want to do it on the end of the year, and maybe like the super fights. Super
nice?
fights, I'm always down.
Nice. Well, is there anyone in particular you want to face next? Anyone that you would want to face either no gi or in the gi?
No, no, for me, like, like if they send me like a contract and good money, for me, like I don't mind, to fight any guy. Like I'm not the type of the person who ask like for people like, oh, I want to fight this people, that people. I mean, if my manager, set up a good fight to me, like why not? That's what I like to do. I always like to challenge myself with like, old generation and the young generation in school. That's what I wanna do for the rest of my career. I always challenge myself, you know, on different weights, on different levels too, different like ages, like all young kids who's like just joined black belt, all the old guys who's been the black belt for a long time. That's what I like to do. Like I always challenge myself with someone that I never fought, or if someone that I fought and was really tough. It's always good to fight. The second time, the person third time.
Yeah, definitely. That's pretty much everything I wanted to go through with you, though, Matthias. Is there anything that you want to say before I let you go? Anyone you want to give a shout out to or anything?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to you guys. To do this interview. Thank you guys. And also, I want to say thank you to my family, to always support me, my Texas family. I now I'm living in Houston, Texas. I have a academy here, me, some well-known guy, Matheus, the other coach here. We all support each other. And I'm so grateful for those guys in my life. My family, NFA Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's our academy here in Houston. If you're in Houston, please come check it out. It's cool. But yeah, I just wanna say thank you. Like everyone who like support me, who cheering for me. Of course, my sponsors, my team. Who always like uh behind my back. With me, and that's it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks very much for your time with this and take it easy, all right?
Well, I hope you like it, brother. Thank you so much.
No worries. Take care, man.